Hi everyone. I'm trying something a little bit different today, and I'm going to be showing you a video that I recorded of this cute little painting. It's a VW bus or bug, and what I'm trying to do is some user-friendly, beginner-friendly, kid-friendly type paintings so that everybody can enjoy them during the holidays. So follow along with me as I do this painting. I'm going to go ahead and start the video, and I'm basically going to just be talking you through the video as it goes. So if you click on the link that I've provided, you're going to get all of the tracers and written instructions for this. So that's what the tracer looks like. And after I used some carbon paper and traced through, I was able to get the image on my sheet of multimedia paper. So what I basically did is just looked at the photo. This is a reference photo that I'm using, and I put out a bunch of different colors of paint based on what I saw in the image. And I'm going to be mixing a light gray color here, so I put some black in a little bit of white. So again, I'm just dispensing all of the different colors that I see on the reference photo. So I've got a dark green, I've got a light green, I've got red, I've got the whites. I'm going to put out some dark blues and light blues and a little tiny bit of yellow. And if you see, I am definitely not putting out a lot of paint. So this is just on a paper plate. I'm just dispensing a tiny, tiny bit of paint because you really don't need that much. And I'm just going to go from there. If I need some more, I'll dispense some more. So I'm mixing my black and my white together to make gray. And what I tried to do in this painting is follow the directions. So again, if you click on that link and you download the file, you're going to get what you see right underneath my plate. It's basically a step-by-step painting, and you can follow along and do everything step by step. The fun thing about this painting is it's just fun. You don't have to take yourself too seriously. Kids can follow along, and everybody can do it together, and it's awesome. So I said before, you're doing this on a multimedia pad. You can also use a canvas. That's totally fine. So I'm starting out by just adding some gray in the background. Now, I'm probably going to mess up and go over, the outlines just a little bit, and that's totally fine because I'm going to go in later and outline everything in black. So my first goal is just to get base color down on everything. So for this part, I'm just going to put gray in the background. So it's supposed to look kind of like a snowy gray day. And so I'm going to lay down that base color in the background. And in the video, I did speed up everything that I was doing. So it didn't take the full hour to paint the painting, and you don't have to sit through it all with me. You can actually just pause the video, get everything done, and then restart the video and play it again. So this is going to be recorded, and it's going to stay on my Facebook page so that you could grab your kiddos and follow along if you like. So I see 5 people watching. If you want to say hi, please do. Tell me who you are and where you're from. I can't see anything right now, so I'm hoping that I can see the comments as they come in. But again, just laying down some of that gray in the background, trying to stay away from the outlines of the tree, but it's not a big deal if I get in there. And my goal here is just to lay down color because I'm going to be going over everything a little bit later. So I had a lot of fun doing this painting. I actually was doing it while my son was in his little online school, and I just recorded it as I went and then went in and edited the recording for you all. So here I'm just kind of taking some white and just scribbling it on that background just to give the sky just a little bit more interesting color. I guess you could consider it to be like clouds or something. A little bit later on, I'm going to be adding snow falling. So again, just being really, really loose with this, not taking myself too seriously, just doing a fun painting. I don't know how old kids would need to be to do this. You could actually do it in crayon. So if you got the tracers and you didn't have any paint, you could do it with crayon, you could do it with markers, anything that you'd like. But I think it's a cute little design to do with the kiddos. I also have a VW van with a Christmas tree on top that I'll be painting a little bit later today and showing you. So I'm just showing you that I'm moving on to my next step. And again, if you have those instructions, you can just follow along. So now I'm going to take I'm wondering if I can get that play thing off the screen. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can get that from being on there. I can't move this. Sorry. It is kind of in the way. Oh wait, there it goes. Okay. So laying down that basic red color on the little VW bug. Now you could make this any color you want. It doesn't have to be red. I just chose red just to stick with what the painting looked like. And I'm using craft paint, and it's really not that thick. So I'm going to have to put down a couple layers, and this brush is a little bit large for what I'm trying to do, but I'm just trying to cover a lot of surface area first. And what you'll notice is at the very end, I mean, everything starts pulling together. At this point, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this looks horrible. She's out of the lines. It doesn't look good. What's going on? It's uneven, all of those things. But because I'm using craft paint and I'm using basically just this multimedia paper in my art journal, it does take a few layers to start looking nice. So I'm just going to keep going in and adding layers. I do take the paper off camera a couple times and dry it with a little air dryer or hair dryer just to get those colors nice and dry, and then I can go back in and even it out just a little bit. But just kind of following along with the instructions here. I thought it was really important to start doing paintings for everybody. So not just the adults that I typically teach with my alcohol ink paintings, but I teach I teach a lot of alcohol ink paintings, and then I have this art membership group that I do, and it's mostly adults, and it's a little bit more, a lot of it's abstract, but a little bit more advanced painting techniques. And I thought it would be really fun to start including beginners and also kids as we get closer to the holidays. And, you know, who knows what situation you are in with COVID. Might need some stuff to do. And, you know, this would be something that you could do. It's going to stay recorded on my page, so you can always go back and follow along anytime you have the kids around and you have time to do it. I thought that the little bar thing went off, so I'm wondering how to keep it like that. So that it's not in the way. Let's see. Oh, showed back up again. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. I'll just stay there. So I sped this up. It did take obviously a little bit longer to actually do it than what you're seeing here, because the video's double the speed. So just take your time. And again, if you need time, if you need to pause the video and wait until you're finished with this step, great. So this next part, I'm just taking the green, the dark green, and I'm going to be painting in the little triangles for the trees. This is again the first coat, and I'll speed it up so that you don't have to watch this whole process if you're just joining just to check out what I'm doing. So it doesn't really matter if you get over into the gray area, or if the gray can't come over into the white area like on this one. You could just basically go right over it with that green. with kids, it's really, really fun to just let them do whatever they want to do. If they want to color the trees purple, let them color the trees purple. It doesn't matter. I found that, when I was a lot younger, I got criticized a lot by teachers and by other people about my art, and it made me stop doing it. So I just think that, it's so important just to let kids do what they want to do. If they want to put little polka dots on it, put lights on it, put little decorations on it, just let them do their thing. If they want to color the sky pink, like for a sunset, let them color the sky pink. It doesn't matter. Just as long as that they're creating and expressing themselves, I think it's really, really cool to watch and let them, develop. It develops so many more skills than obviously just artistic skills. So get them involved. Let them create. And I'm actually really, really happy that I didn't go to art school because I didn't learn a lot of the techniques and the rules that I guess are taught. I just kind of do whatever I want to do. And I think, personally my stuff turns out really cool. Not everybody's going to like it, but I do. And I don't know what the rules are. So that's the fun part. So now I'm just going to take some lighter green and add it in there just so that the trees aren't a solid color. And in a little while, you'll see that I'm going to go in and add some white, like snow looking spots. But I just want to add a little bit more depth and texture and color. And kids don't need to know that that's what I'm doing. They just can add it in whatever way they want to. So now I'm just going to start coloring in the Christmas presents, and it says it in the instructions, and I encourage you to just kind of be random with this. Do whatever colors you want, have fun with it. It doesn't have to be the blues that I'm using. You can use different colors. I end up putting some polka dots and some stripes and stuff like that on the boxes. But for this first part, again, I'm just laying down that base color and making sure that it has a base to start it looking a little bit more solid colored. Because this paper really, really absorbs the color, and because it's craft paint, it's not super opaque, so it's a little bit more transparent and you can see through it. So I always like to get a solid color down first. The end result of this painting looks a little bit more cartoony, and that's because I go in with a dark black marker and re-outline everything. So again, if you're making little tiny mistakes where the lines aren't perfectly straight because you don't have a really good quality brush or whatever, don't worry about it, because we're going to be going over it later with a dark marker. And that's something that you can help your kiddos with if they get if their stuff looks a little bit messy and it's like a little scribbly. When you go in with the black marker, it's going to correct everything at the very end, and everything will look really cute. It's a fun little cartoony painting. And you could also really use a dark marker to make your tracer as well. So if you wanted to, you could go in with like a big fat Sharpie and actually outline everything with that, and then just have the kids color in everything versus having like this light pencil that I'm working with. It's actually not pencil, it's the carbon paper marks, but it's really light. So, and I just did that because I knew I was going to be going over it at the end with black. Excuse me. So right here I'm taking a paint pen and in a dark brown, and I'm creating the stumps or the trunk of the tree with the pen, because I feel like I didn't have a brush that was going to be strict. Like, I couldn't have control over it very well. I didn't have a skinny enough brush to have really good control, so I just chose to use my pen. On the ground, on the bottom, I didn't want it to be like stark white, so I did kind of like a little bit of a mixture of the grays and the whites just to kind of fill everything in. And then you'll see that I add some shadowing underneath the car and some shadowing underneath the trees. And I actually ended up going in with a Q-tip mixed with some white and gray, and I think I cut that part out of the video, but I went in with a Q-tip and just dotted the whole ground area with grays and whites just to kind of give it more of like a, you know, like snow piled up look versus like the straight strokes from the brush. And here I'm just adding in a little bit of gray onto the window because, again, I don't want it to be all white. I want it to look almost like it has like a little reflection on it. So take some gray in there and I kind of just scribble it with my paintbrush, not trying to be too perfect with anything, just kind of like a quick little scribble. Painting the tires black. So if anybody's here and wants to comment, let me know that, you know, if you guys do any type of Christmas crafts with your kids or grandkids. If anybody's watching that plans on doing this project, I'd love to know. If you do end up doing this project, please post it in comments. I'd love to see what you guys come up with or your kids come up with. It would be super fun. So I'm taking that gray paint and I'm painting in the bumper. Trying to stay away from the snow piles a little bit, but you don't really have to, because I do go in a little bit later and add some gray into the snow because that would kind of be like shadows in the snow. So I go in and add a little bit of gray later. So it wouldn't matter too much if you accidentally got some gray into that snow. So again, I don't really want everything to be too white. You would think snow is white, so why aren't you just leaving it white? But white adds shadows and a little bit of depth, so adding this gray in is a good idea. All right, let's go in and color our presents a little bit more. Start doing some fun things with those. So you can see how the second layer looks a lot better. And I like to jump around the painting because that allows things to dry, so I can keep working constantly. I don't have to stop and just wait for it to dry, or I don't have to necessarily jump off and dry everything. If I'm jumping around, I can go back to something that's dry a little bit later. So that's kind of the reason also that I do jump around. I do have a video on my Facebook page that shows some of the basics of using acrylic paints and brushes. So you can go ahead and search my feed. If you want some more information on just basic techniques, you can go on there, and I do show you several different things about blending and using some different mediums that will help you blend the paint if the paint's drying too fast. So that might be something that you want to look at, and that's on my business Facebook page. So what I think what I was doing there was adding a little bit of snow with some Q-tips, I believe. This is just a little tiny like makeup applicator tool that I'm using because it's super small, and I was trying to make some vertical stripes on the top of that present. So here's my Q-tip, dipping it in the white. And I'm going to go around, and this is where I think it's kind of off screen a little bit. I do the snow on the car, and then I go and use that same Q-tip along everything on the ground. So it takes it and makes it look a little bit more like snow on the ground versus just like gray scribbled brown ground. But I like the way that the Q-tip makes the snow look. So that's a really cute or good tool to use if you're trying to make snow. Just grab a Q-tip, and everybody has Q-tips. Same thing, add snow to the top of your trees. I missed this area with the red, so I'm going in and filling that in. And again, this project would be good with crayons and markers. So if you feel like you want to change it up, or even colored pencils. If you don't have paint and you think that paint's too messy, try something different. The tracers are great. So you could even just print out the tracer on regular paper and let the kids color that. That would be totally fine. And that way you could do multiple ones. And they could do cars in different colors, a rainbow of colors. So at this point, I'm just kind of going around and making sure that everything's filled in the way that I want it to. And again, I'm not too worried about being messy or getting out of the lines, because I will be adding a black marker, or I'm kind of coloring and outlining and retracing everything on the edges of the car with a black marker. So I'm not too worried about getting out of the lines at this point. Hi, everyone that's watching. I really appreciate it. I have this streaming on 3 different spots. So my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and my business Facebook page. I don't remember why I was pausing here. I think it was getting my pen. So what you're going to see me do here is what we were talking about. So I'm going to be re-outlining the entire car with black pen. So I'm using an acrylic pen here. It's a black acrylic marker, but you could use a Sharpie, you could use a regular black pen, whatever you want. But adding these outlines back is going to really bring the painting to life. So it's supposed to look a little bit cartoony. That was my goal, and we were able to achieve that with the black marker. I can actually see through this red paint to the lines that I created underneath. And so it was easy to do. But again, you could start with using a Sharpie so that the lines are really obvious and it would be easy so the paint won't cover it up too much. Be really, really easy to retrace it if you actually used a marker to begin with when you did the outlines. You could do the carbon paper, get the outlines with the carbon paper marks, and then go back over that with a Sharpie, and that'll create lines that are easier to retrace later on that you can see through a lot easier. So I just love how it brings it back to life. So you're kind of thinking like, you know, this is weird, it looks strange, she got out of the lines, but once we add the marker at the end, it really brings it to life. So again, that would be something that you could help your kiddos with. Just re-outline it and they'll be super excited about how their end painting looks. So this is just like a little string of lights that I think is fun and add something to the painting. Adding little bows to the presents. Coloring in the lights. Pick whatever colors you want. I might go back in and actually add some different colors to those lights, like purple or pink or something like that, just to give it a little bit more life. But I used yellow, red, and blue pretty much only on these ones. And I think it looks good, and I did go back over the lights again with a black marker just to kind of, again, even out the outlines. So I wanted to add a little bit of snow to the window of the car. The very last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add a little bit of like highlight, and that's just with this white marker pen. Add some little highlight areas, and that kind of brings it to a close. So I really hope that you enjoyed this. Again, you can watch it later. It will be recorded. It'll stay on all of my different channels. You can bring the kiddos in and watch. If you need to pause it and let everybody catch up, that's something easy for you to be able to do. I hope that you enjoy it. And again, if you do it, please post it in the comments. I'd love to see everybody's paintings, especially the kiddos. I think it would be so super fun to see what they're doing. I'm going to have my son do this with me later, so I will post his as well. So I hope you had a good time. That was a little bit of snow added with a Q-tip. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and happy holidays.